Good evening. Good evening. My name is Paul Muehlebach, and I'm the Long Beach Area Council historian. I first came to Camp Tahquitz in the summer of 1961. I was a 12-year-old second-class scout. I came up here for a week-long junior leader training class. Where's Michael? Michael. Yo. Michael up here was our lead instructor. Middle of the week, they said, we're going to go do a conservation project. So they hiked us over to a hill, and down the slope of the hill was a big trench, and at the bottom of the trench was a pipeline. There was piles of dirt on both sides of the pipeline. They gave us all shovels. They said, dirt, throw it in the trench. So we stood on both sides and we threw dirt. We got more dirt on ourselves and we got in the trench, but we filled up the trench. I found out a few years later that that was going to be the bowl. That pipeline runs right down the middle, underneath the seats, the stage. It's still there, so we did a good job burying it. Since we're here to celebrate the Camp Centennial, I thought I'd tell you a little bit about it. Some of you know it, some of you don't. In May 1925, a real estate developer donated 5 acres of land just outside of Idlewild to the Long Beach Council of the Boy Scouts for a mountain camp. It was a wonderful gift for them. They spent the rest of the year planning what they were going to do there, what they were going to build, and in the fall they built 2 buildings there. They built a large central lodge, and they built a separate toilet and shower building. Everything was ready for occupancy by the end of the year. And at the end of that year, in December of 1925, they held the first ever winter camp in Long Beach at the camp, using those facilities, and it was at that time that the tribe of Tahquitz was formed. The first summer that the camp was used for summer camp was 1926. And the first day, the opening day of that 1926 summer camp was June 25th. June 25th this year was 3 days ago, Wednesday. So 99 years and 3 days ago was the first ever summer camp at Camp Tahquitz. That was over in Idlewild. Additional pieces of property were purchased, and by 1944, the total property amounted to 92 acres. In the 50s, with the baby boom and an exploding demand for scouting in Long Beach and across the country, the camp was too small, and there was no more property available around it to expand. So the council started looking elsewhere. In 1957, they located this property here. It's 1 square mile, 640 acres, which is 7 times the size of the 92 acres that we had in Idlewild. So they purchased this property in 1957, and they made plans. They made plans for developing the campsite here. The last summer camp at Idlewild was held the summer of 1958. We've had some folks here today. We have some folks here tonight who served on summer camp staff over in Idlewild. And so 1959 was going to be the first year of summer camp here in Barton Flats. The first day of camping here in Barton Flats was June 28, 1959, exactly 66 years ago today. We got lucky with the calendar when we scheduled this event. Very lucky. The event in December, just to give you a preview, was on December 20th. That's the exact 100th anniversary of the formation of the tribe of Tahquitz. So the stars are shining on us. Okay, I digress. Last summer camp video, no video. No video. No video. No video. So 66 years ago today, about 50 members of the tribe of Tahquitz ran in relays covering 65 miles. They began at 8:30 in the morning in Idlewild and arrived in camp here in Barton Flats by 7:30 that evening for the opening of the first campfire. They carried this bucket of hot coals, those 65 miles, coals from the last fire in '58, and used those coals to ignite the first campfire here in Barton Flats. The symbolic significance of all that was to carry forth the history and the traditions of the tribe and the camp to its new home in Barton Flats. What's up with all this? So to summarize our history, we started out in the San Jacinto Range just outside of Idlewild. In '59, we moved to the San Gorgonio Range in Barton Flats. And what's the event that links those two?
The fire run.
Take it, boys! Henry Unmack, who was the founding father of the tribe, the first advisor, shot a 16mm film. I know a lot of you don't know what that is. of a portion of the fire run. The center image here is a screen grab from that movie.
Wow.
This guy here is Buddy Hammonds. We've never been able to identify this guy. But there's our whole history right there before you. I also want to point this out here in case you missed it. A lot of you know what it is, some of you probably don't. The old Kiwanis cabin, which was the central lodge that was built back in 1925 in Idlewild, this was the mantelpiece. They had a massive fireplace there. And this was the mantelpiece. The property sold back in 1965. It's now a private home. And for many years, the owners of that home kept the mantelpiece in place. In '95, Matt Brandt and Chuck Miller, who was chief back in 1940, they went and visited the family, and as soon as they walked in the living room, they looked at the fireplace, no mantle. Oh yes, we did some redecorating a few years ago. What happened to the mantle? It's down in the basement, you want it? So we've had it here ever since, and it's a touchstone back to our past, to our history, to our founding. So we like to show it on occasions like this. The obvious part here has been in the works for 3 years now, or more, if you go back to 2011 when the original idea was hatched. We thought this would be a great project for the Centennial. And so, Tuesday morning, 4 days ago Tuesday morning, none of that was there. So it's been put together kind of quickly at the last minute here. But in addition to this, we have a new trench. Remember that I told you about the water pipeline? We have a new trench that was dug over here off to the side. Water line, gas line, and electrical. We're still waiting on Edison to install the junction box at the top there. So all of our lighting isn't quite functional yet. It's supposed to be brighter than that. But we're on our way. Now, the gas line, why do we need a new gas line? Because we have new fire pits. We have new fire pits.
You had one job.
They just told me it takes a minute to turn on. It's all electronic. All right, so that's the bowl stuff. Now, I'd like to tell you a little bit about how this came to be. I already told you that part. Last December, an old member of the tribe reached out to us. He was initiated in '59 and told us he wanted to underwrite the entire project. Okay. His name is Dave Alexander, and he's done very well for himself over the years. Dave was born and raised in Long Beach. He and Jim DeLong were best friends growing up. They walked to school together every day. They were in Cub Scouts together. They were in Boy Scouts together. They were both invited into the tribe in 1959. They both came up and attended initiation. Dave woke up on Sunday morning after Hell Night. Those who know, know. And he had an upset stomach. And one of the honoraries said, "Oh, you need to go home right now." And threw him in his car and took him home. He never heard another word from the tribe. So he just thought, he failed the whole thing, which really bummed him out. So I've been conversing with Dave since 2017, and I just heard the story recently because I always thought he was in the tribe. So we got together with the officers, and I told them the story, and the officers voted unanimously to vote Dave into the membership of the tribe of Tahquitz. So Robert Walden went over to Phoenix and shared this with Dave. He was so overjoyed he cried. And it was, he says, "I want to pay up all my past dues." So he asked me to calculate, so I had to go back to all the old bylaws and everything and figure out, for 5 years it was $1 and for 6 years So anyway, I figured it out, and he ended up writing us a check for $699 to cover his last 66 years of member. So he's paid up. So it was after that then that Robert told him about this big project we had going on. He says, "I want to pay for it all." So, okay. He's an interesting guy to say the least. As a young boy, he became interested in coin collecting and became a widely respected expert before he became a teenager. He also took up magic and was invited to perform in clubs all over Southern California as a teenager. Many of the places he performed, he wasn't old enough to legally enter. He was even invited to perform at the prestigious Magic Castle in Hollywood, and at one time he was voted the best close-up card magician in America by the Society of American Magicians. In 1982, he thought he'd try triathlons. He worked at several, wait a minute here, I skipped one. He ended up completing 287 triathlons in 37 different countries. Wow. When the guy puts his mind to something, there's no stopping. He worked at several different jobs in the 60s and 70s. In '82, he founded a small fuel distribution company named CalJet of America, based in Phoenix, Arizona. Today, it is one of the largest independent motor fuel distribution terminals in southwestern United States with more than 1 million barrels of storage capacity. He's done well for himself. Dave and his wife, Marilyn, have been generous donors to many philanthropic organizations. Dave's love of his scouting background shades everything he does. He runs his company based on the Scout Oath and the Scout Law. He has been awarded the Silver Buffalo by the National Council of the Boy Scouts. Dave had planned to be here with us today, but something came up and he couldn't make it. So this presentation is going to be recorded. I don't think it is. Anyway, so I told you that Dave was initiated in '59 into the tribe, and there was a little mix-up. I told you about that part. Last December, I told you that part. So anyway, what we did was Jeff Talicki mocked up an image of the old tribe membership card on a plaque. It's about, 5x7, 6x8, something like that. So it's the old tribe membership card. It's got Dave's name on it, his year of initiation. And if he had stuck around, 5960 would have been his first year in the tribe. The guy who was chief that year, 5960, was Jerry Smith. Where's Jerry? Jerry's up there. So we had Jerry sign the card. When Robert goes over to Phoenix on his next trip, he's going to take that. We're also going to do a plaque up at the top where we've got all the other plaques. There's going to be a big plaque, 24 by 31. The center is going to have this central image of the fire run. The top will give a brief history of the camp, you know, and its transition from Idlewild to Martin Flats. And then the bottom of the plaque will have, it will dedicate this as the Dave Alexander Amphitheater at Tahquitz Bowl. So, so we thank Dave in absentia. I welcome you all tonight. Enjoy the show.